Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the Marilyn Monroe collection for holiday 2018 from Morgan Taylor. There are 12 shades in this collection. These were sent to me for review as a kind of collaboration between Morgan Taylor and Preen.me. So in the description box below, I will link the Morgan Taylor site, their Instagram page, the Preen.me site and Instagram page, as well as my Instagram page. You can see more swatches of everything from this collection. So like I said, we have 12 shades to look at today, and let's go ahead and get started. So first we have A Kiss from Marilyn, and this is a bright, like fire truck red cream. So here's our first coat of A Kiss from Marilyn. This has a really good, really smooth formula, very easy to use, easy to apply, like one of those nice buttery formulas. It's also very opaque here on this first coat. You could easily get away with one coat. I went ahead and did 2 coats for no particular reason. It doesn't deepen the color, it doesn't add to the opacity, so 1 coat is just fine in my opinion. But here is our second coat. This one also dries very glossy on its own. I didn't have any kind of nail staining with this, but if you get this in your cuticles, it is not the easiest one to get out. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have Wish Upon a Starlet, and this is like a burgundy red with a strong gold shimmer, and then there are also these like tiny itty bitty gold flecks as well. So here's 1 coat of Wish Upon a Starlet, and this is completely opaque in 1 coat for me. This one has another good formula, not too thick or too thin, no running or pooling, anything of that sort. This one's also going to dry pretty glossy on its own. If you want it to last any length of time, you will want a glossy top coat. And nothing in here is going to dry textured, nothing in here is going to be difficult to remove. So there is 1 coat. Next up we have Some Like It Red, and this is a clear base loaded with a bunch of different size red glitters and then holographic glitter, and I am going to layer this over Hollywood Sweetheart, which is coming up in the swatch video. Looking back on it, I should have swatched them back to back, but I didn't. So here's 1 coat of Some Like It Red, and this one you could build up to opacity if you wanted to sponge it on. 3 coats does not bring it anywhere close, but you could sponge this one on for opacity. This one does lay pretty smooth as far as glitter disbursement goes, but it will dry a little bit textured, so you want a glossy top coat to finish this off, and it'll be a little difficult to remove. Up next we have The Camera Loves Me, and this is a deep oxblood red cream. Here's our first coat of The Camera Loves Me, and this one is pretty streaky here on this first coat. It is going to take 2 to build up. The formula on this is pretty good though, no running or pooling or anything like that again. This one also will dry very fast and very glossy on its own. You will want a top coat if you want it to last any length of time though. So here is our second coat, and this does cover completely in 2 coats. And this one also is another one that you do want to avoid getting in your cuticles. I don't know if it's just me, but red polish when I'm taking it off or if I flood my cuticles is just a pain to get out, and it's near impossible to get completely clean. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have I Prefer Millionaires, and this is like a brownie red. I don't want to say metallic. It's not really metallic, but it is more than a shimmer finish. So here's 1 coat of I Prefer Millionaires, and this is completely opaque in 1 coat for me as well. This one will apply with a good bit of brush strokes, and most of those go away as it dries, but definitely not all of them. You'll want a top coat for this one because it does dry a little bit on the dull side as well. The formula on this is easy to work with. You do just want to make sure to do nice straight brush strokes to avoid weird brush strokes, and then if you have any imperfections in your nails, those will definitely show through with this one. So there is 1 coat. Up next we have Wrapped in Satin, and this is a light baby blue with a strong blue shimmer and then like a dusting of this silver glitter. It's not, so it doesn't apply like a glitter, it doesn't remove like a glitter, but it's not a shimmer, but you can kind of see it in the bottle, the silver pieces. So here's our first coat of Wrapped in Satin, and the formula on this is good. It's a little bit on the thicker side, but it does stay right where you put it. I didn't have any kind of running or pooling. This is obviously quite streaky here on this first coat, so it is one that's going to have to be built up, but the shimmer that's in here is very strong, and it's more of like a chunky shimmer. It's very different than anything else that I have. So this is building up nicely in 2 coats. It is still a little bit brushstrokey. It does remind me a lot of the one that came out in their Beauty and the Beast collection. I think it was called Pots of Tea. It does have the same kind of formula where it's pretty patchy and it is a little bit hard to get completely smooth, but it is completely opaque here in 3 coats. This one's going to dry down a little bit on the dull side, so you will want a nice glossy top coat for this one. And the larger particled shimmers are in here. They don't dry textured and they don't stick to your nails, so they're not difficult to remove. So there is 3 coats. Up next we have Blue Eyed Beauty, and this is a cornflower blue cream. So here is 1 coat of Blue Eyed Beauty. This is completely opaque in 1 coat for me. Depending on your application, you may want to go in for 2 coats, but this one was completely opaque in 1 for me. Now, I am not a usual blue stainer, so this one didn't stain me whatsoever. If blues tend to stain you more, I'm more of a yellow-green stainer. You might want to wear a base coat with this one. This will dry glossy on its own, and it's very beautiful, so there is 1 coat. Next up we have Hollywood Sweetheart, and this is a mauve nude. It does lean more towards the nude side with like a kiss of a pink shade. Here's our first coat of Hollywood Sweetheart. This is very opaque here on this first coat, just a little bit patchy, so I am going to go in for a 2nd coat. The formula on this is really nice and smooth, very easy to apply. I feel like Morgan Taylor usually has a pretty standardly good formula, and they're not talked about so much, which blows my mind. They're a really good brand with fantastic polishes at a good price, so I don't know why, but anyway, these ones are really good. So here's our 2nd coat, and this does cover completely in 2 coats for me. This one's also going to dry decently glossy on its own. Once again, you'll want a top coat if you want it to last, but if you have to go immediately, this one does dry very glossy on its own. You may want to go in for 3 coats if you are experiencing some brush strokes still, but there's 2. Up next we have She's a Natural, and this is a light putty nude shade, and then here it is next to Hollywood's Sweetheart, just so you can see kind of where I was getting at with Hollywood Sweetheart having a hint of pink to it. So here's our first coat of She's a Natural, and this one is pretty sheer and patchy on this first coat. This one is definitely going to take 3 to build up to complete opacity. The formula on it is good though. It is a little bit on the thinner side as opposed to what we've looked at so far, but it's standard formula just in general. It's not too thick or too thin, but if you work in super thick coats, you might experience some running and pooling. So this is building up nicely in 2 coats. It's not completely streak free though, so I am going to go in for a 3rd coat. Again, this one is going to dry nice and glossy on its own. You'll want that top coat if you want it to last any length of time. So here is our 3rd and final coat, and this one does cover completely and evenly for me in 3 coats. I definitely lost my train of thought, but this one it's just nice. It's beautiful. So there is 3 coats. Up next we have Batting My Lashes, and this is a warm toned brown cream. Here's our first coat of Batting My Lashes. And this one goes on really nice and opaque, just a little bit patchy here on this first coat, but it does build up nicely in 2. The formula on this is very smooth, easy to apply, not too thick or too thin. The Morgan Taylor brushes are really nice to work with. They do form to your nail line, which I can appreciate. They are a little bit on the whiter side for me though, so I did have a little bit of trouble. This is completely opaque in 2 coats though, and this is easily one of those colors that are mistakable for black in multiple different lightings. So there's 2 coats. Up next we have Ice or No Dice, and this is a silver shade, but it does have this like hint of a neutral to it. It's like a nutty silver. It's a very original silver in my collection. Here's our first coat of Ice or No Dice. This has a really good formula, very easy to work with, no running or pooling. I also didn't have any kind of staining with this one. This covers pretty well here on this first coat for what it is, but obviously I can still make out my nail line and it is still a touch sheer. And this would be a beautiful accent nail to A Kiss from Marilyn, the red one we looked at first. But it is completely opaque in 2 coats. It is going to dry down a little dull, so you'll want a glossy top coat for that reason. And nothing in here sticks to your nails, but these little flecks do make a mess. And lastly for today we have Diamonds Are My BFF, and this is more of the traditional silver shade. Closer to like the gunmetal type range, but very reflective in silver. Here's our first coat of Diamonds Are My BFF, and this one is also pretty sheer here on this first coat. It is going to build up really nicely though. The formula is good, easy to use, easy to work with. This is not one that I recommend sponging. This can easily be opaque in 2 to 3 coats, and the particles that are in here aren't too hard to like spread out nice and evenly. And this is completely opaque in 2 coats. For me, it's going to dry a little textured, so you want a glossy top coat for that reason, and probably a peel off base coat because removal is a little tricky. So there's 2 coats. So these standouts for me would include Ice or No Dice. This is a very original silver in my collection. It's somewhere between a silver and a gold, but not quite a white gold. But it's got like gold and silver. Yeah, but it's got like gold and silver elements. So it's really original in my collection. I love this, a good 2 coat formula, and I can totally get behind this for the holidays. And then my other standouts is the combination of Hollywood Sweetheart and Some Like It Red. Honestly though, not for holiday. This is more like a Valentine's Day duo to me, a Valentine's Day combination. So I really like it for that reason, but it doesn't scream holiday, but it screams Valentine's Day, and I love it for that. And that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of this collection. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time. Bye.